Hi and welcome to Exploring Jeeps. Today what we're going to do is try and get the most we can out of our factory sound system by upgrading the speakers. What you're going to need to do this is at least a T20 Torx bit with a ratchet and then a pair of 7-inch speakers. What I have here are Mopar kicker speakers. It's the upgrade version and quite a bit more substantial than the factory ones. What I'm doing here is removing the soundbar with a 10mm socket. There's a little clip underneath that you just have to unplug. I'll show you that a little bit better later. There's 2 screws on both sides. You don't have to take out the big things for the top, for the Freedom top. 3 Torx T20s come out, and then there's another 3 inside for the speaker itself. Just remove those. And then there's a little bit of foam or something that sticks, so you just twist it a little bit and it'll come out. And then there's a little clip in here. Towards the outside, there's just a little thumb tab that you push in, and then you can gently work it out. There's the tab there. Now there's a pretty big difference in the speakers. The small ones are plastic. The large ones, you can see the big difference in the magnet in there. Quite a bit more substantial. Okay, now I used Polyfill in this. You don't have to do this to upgrade your speakers, but a lot of audiophiles, people who know more about speakers than I do, will put this into their speaker cases. And from what I understand, it tricks the sound into thinking that there's a kind of a larger cavity. It slows the sound down through the polyfill and therefore makes it seem like it's a larger case around the speaker. So whether or not that works, I have no idea. We had some left over from a science project for my kids. So I had this big bag sitting there and had heard that a lot of people will pack it in here. So I figured I'd give it a try. You can't get all the way in the center of the soundbar or anything like that. It doesn't go that far. It's just kind of a small little area in there. So I just packed it in, kind of made a hole in the center where there was a little bit less material, and then went ahead and put the speaker back in there. It will compress pretty well, so you don't have to worry about putting too much in there. And if you get the Mopar kicker speakers, it's plug and play. So you just clip it in there. There's a little line on there that'll help you set it. And then I spun the speaker a little bit to get rid of some of the slack in the line, and then lined the speaker up, and then reinstalled it with the 3 original torque bits, the T20 screws that were in there. What I'm doing here is just making sure that the foam isn't hitting the polyfill isn't hitting the speaker cone and making it deflect at all. And it didn't. Actually, the reflection there might have looked like it moved a little bit, but it being there, it actually didn't. I just tighten these down really well. Now I took the soundbar off as well. You don't have to do that. You can do this in the Jeep, but to film it and stuff, it was much easier to just do it this way. Now, one of the things I found is that the grill has a resonance to it, so it flexes quite a bit because there's only three screws. And my fear was that with low frequency sounds, especially played loud, that you get resonance in the grill. And I really didn't want any additional sound coming from the grill of my speakers. So what I decided to do was an old trick where you use a different substance that resonates at a different frequency, or not really at all, and you put it in there. It's kind of like these vibration reducers that you might see in a tennis racket or something else that can incur a lot of vibration. So I just put a little bit of polyfill in there, made a little bit of a ball out of it. Looking back, I could have used like a rubber band to contain it a little bit better, but with what I did, it actually worked pretty well, and it really seemed to kind of deaden the grill. So that's just a little trick that I think is worth doing. It's not going to move once it's in there. I put just enough to make it apply some pressure on the grill and deaden the sound, but then yet not so much that it's you're going to bend the grill or it's going to have a hard time getting the grill on there. You could also use a little piece of foam or something else like that would also deaden it. And that's it. You just do the other side. You put the two speakers in there, and that's it. You could easily do it up on the ceiling, but it's also not hard to take the whole sound bar out. I also wanted to take it. You just click in this little connector, and that's the electrical connection. Okay, so we've got the sound bar installed. We've got the Polyfill installed in there, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our test. Now it's just the rear speakers. And here's the actual sound coming out of the speakers. It actually sounds pretty good. I was impressed with it. Here's just a few pictures so you don't have to watch me listening in the Jeep. So anyway, this was a pretty good project. You definitely have a little bit more power. It's not necessarily louder, but it's clearer when it's louder. Sounds richer, and it's not quite as piercing when you crank the volume up. The sound quality wise, there's so much road noise in the Jeep that it doesn't really make that big of a difference. Is it worth the $60 or $70 for the speakers? Yeah, I think so, but it's not a required thing to do this. Polyfill, again, I don't know if I really noticed anything from it, but it was worth a try, and for the amount of money and the ability to crank it up, I think it's worth it. So that's about it. Thanks to Silent Partner and Amadeus Mozart for the music.